Ajax approach Erik ten Hag to become their new manager. Thomas Tuchel waiting in the wings to take over from Erik's position. And lots of updates on ingoings and outgoings this coming transfer window. These are some of the stories we will be discussing here on the show today. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. So let's start the show off with some transfer related stories, because I know a lot of you really like all of the transfer related news. And let's start off with Jadon Sancho. So the headline coming out this evening, or this morning even, is that apparently Dortmund are trying to negotiate with Manchester United to keep Jadon Sancho beyond this season. This is coming out from Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, his loan spell ends in June, I think it is. He's been a first teamer since January, since his loan started. He's had 5 goals and assists in that time, which I actually don't think is very good personally. And somebody pointed out to me that, there's people on Twitter who are like, look at Jadon Sancho, he's smashing it, star boy, Erik ten Hag should have never done what he did to him. He's incredible, all the rest of it. He's got 5 goals and assists in 20 games since January. Anthony, who I would say 90% of the fan base think is rubbish, has got 5 goals and assists for Manchester United since January, and he's playing in a harder league. I don't really see where these comparisons come from. It's a little bit strange to me. But I don't know. That's just how people are on Twitter, aren't they? They seem to think that Jadon Sancho getting 5 goals and assists in the German league is better than Anthony getting 5 goals and assists in the Premier League and in England. But that's fine. Obviously, people are entitled to their opinions. Me personally, Jadon Sancho has to go. I think he's disrespected the club. He's disrespected the manager. He's disrespected his team, and he's disrespected the fans. If this was Sir Alex Ferguson's day and he called out... I know obviously social media wasn't as present in Sir Alex Ferguson's day, but if any player had called out Sir Alex Ferguson in the manner that Jadon Sancho did on Twitter, the player would never set foot in Carrington or play on Old Trafford again, because Sir Alex Ferguson wouldn't have allowed that to happen. So for me, you have to try and uphold those morals, those beliefs, those standards. And for that reason, Jadon Sancho has to go. We're never going to get the money back that we paid for him, though. That's the one frustrating thing. We paid, I think, 75 million? He's on 350k a week. An absolute waste of money. I'm sorry. I know he had potential. I know he could have gone on to be, maybe some would have said, a world-class player, but you just have to rub your hands of him. I'm sorry. Move him on. I would expect to maybe get somewhere around 30 to 40 million pounds. I know people will say that sounds low, but you've got to remember that the European market is quite bad at the moment. Like, the clubs in Germany, other than Bayern, don't have ridiculous amounts of money. And at the rate it's going, Dortmund aren't going to be in the Champions League next season. They're currently 5th, and I think they're maybe 3 or 4 points off the Champions League places. So, I think 30, 40 million would be enough to get the deal done. Obviously, we get rid of his wages. £20 million a year we pay him in wages, roughly. So, for me, get rid of him without even a hesitation. Moving on to some incomings, I wanted to talk to you guys about Ronald Araújo from Barcelona, a player I really like. And the headline that came out last night is that apparently Manchester United want to sign Ronald Araújo this summer. And apparently Barcelona are interested in selling him if the price is right. Around £70 million is reportedly what it would take to kind of convince them. And I said, if someone said to me, you could pay 70 million for Braithwaite or 70 million for Araújo, I'm going with Araújo 100%. He's in his mid-20s. He's in his prime. He's the captain of Barcelona. He's been absolutely incredible for them over the last kind of 3 or 4 years or however long he's been there. If that was the option presented to me, I'm taking Araújo. But you can let me know in the comment section, would you go for Araújo or would you go for Braithwaite? They're going to cost around the same amount of money. And I would definitely go with Araújo. But let me know what you guys think on that. Keeping on the topics of centre-backs, we have an update on Crystal Palace's Mark Gea. Probably said his name wrong. Apologies if I have. Apparently, Manchester United are interested in signing him. £55 million is what Crystal Palace want. 23 years of age. Obviously, had a very good season for Crystal Palace. He's in the England. I think he's been capped by England, hasn't he? He was definitely in the under 21s and all the rest of it. Let me just double check if he's been capped by England. Yes, he has. He's played 9 times for England. Again, 55 million, hell of a lot of money. I don't know. I would probably rather get Todibo than this guy. I think Todibo is going to cost you 45 million. They're both good options. I just think 55 million is a lot. We're probably only going to have about 100 million to spend this summer. And spending over half of that money on a Crystal Palace centre-back, I don't know. I'm a little bit unsure about it, but let me know what you guys think. It's the same with Elise. apparently Crystal Palace wants £60 million for Elise. That's what his release clause is. And I just think, again, £60 million is a ridiculous amount of money. I'm sorry. Like, I know we desperately need to bring in a winger because, we've had some really, really big problems in that position. But I'm just not sure whether Elise for £60 million is a good deal. I don't think it is, personally. I think, we should probably just give Ahmad a chance because we need a midfielder. We probably need 2 midfielders. Casemiro should be sold. Eriksen should be sold. Amrabat's going to go back. So that's 3 midfielders that you're going to lose. Our midfield is already poor. We get overrun every single game in midfield, right? We know that Amrabat's going to go because he's on loan. Eriksen's almost definitely going to go. And I think Casemiro is almost definitely going to go. That doesn't even, we're not even mentioning there Donny van der Beek, who's probably going to go as well. Hannibal Mejbri is probably going to go. That's 5 midfielders who are almost definitely going to leave this summer from a midfield that's already very, very poor and gets overrun by Burnley, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. Like, all of the bottom half teams have overrun our midfield this year. So we're going to lose 5 midfielders from that already poor midfield, right? We probably need 2 minimum. And although I know we need a winger, we have got Ahmad, we've got Pellistri, we've got Anthony, we've got Rashford, we've got Garnacho, Bruno can play there, Mason Mount can play there. That's 7 people who can play in those positions, And that's not even bringing into to equation Mason Greenwood or what's he called? Jadon Sancho, like who both are probably going to leave. So for me personally, I think we need to really, really heavily invest in that midfield because Kobbie Mainoo definitely has potential to be a starter every single game for Manchester United. I know he is at the moment, but if I'm being completely honest, I love Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's been incredible for us this season, but I don't think at the age of 18 he should be playing the amount of games he is. Like, I just don't think that's the best for his development. And we've seen it happen time and time again at Manchester United where, because we're so desperate to have a good player, somebody comes through and breaks into the team and then they just start every single game. And that's not always the best thing for development. You should have more experienced players around him who the manager is confident about swapping Mainoo and bringing in, like, I can't think of an example, but, when you bring in Amrabat over Mainoo, you can see the difference. When you bring in a McTominay over Mainoo, you see the difference. It's a completely different style, and we need some more players in that position that complement Mainoo's attributes and qualities. And at the moment, we don't have that. Mainoo, for me, should be further up the pitch because I think he's better in a more attacking sense. And we need more of a traditional number 6 who can kind of hang back, like what Casemiro's job was supposed to be. But his legs are gone, I'm sorry. Like, every time I watch him, it's like it's a charity match. Maybe that sounds a bit harsh, but that's just my opinion. I think Casemiro isn't at the level to play in the Premier League. I think he's 32 now, is he? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he's just turned 32, Casemiro. Like, he's not at the level. He really, really isn't. I'm sorry. I wish he was. I want nothing more. I mean, if you compare that with Man City, right? Man City's player in that position is Rodri. Rodri's 5 years younger than Casemiro. And Rodri's been doing it for years and years and years in the Premier League, hasn't he? And there's been no drop-off. He's just continuously getting better and better and better. Whereas Casemiro had one good half a season last year, got suspended a lot, and now is rubbish. So yeah, he definitely needs to go. And I think any money we do have this summer needs to be focused on midfielders, a striker and a centre-back. I think a winger is a luxury position for us because we do have options there. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you really think that we need to, spend all of our money on a winger and Elise is going to change our problems. But for me personally, I don't think Elise is going to make much difference because our problems are in defence and midfield. We're getting opportunities. Our attacking play has got better this season, I think. It's better than last season, our attacking play. I genuinely think that. We just have had, bad luck. And I think last season, a lot of games that we won were lucky. They were. They weren't ever very convincing. It would be like 1-0 in the 80th minute, 90th minute, and we'd, scrape a goal from somewhere. And last year's success was built on a strong defence and a strong midfield, whereas this year we don't have that. And obviously De Gea, who was levels above Onana. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. What are the priority positions? And now we're going to talk about the manager quickly. So the headline coming out of the Netherlands this morning is that apparently Ajax are prepared. Sorry, let me say that again. So let me start from the beginning. There's quite a lot to get into about this. So Ajax have just hired a new technical director. Obviously, Ajax need a manager. And apparently Erik ten Hag is top of the list to become the new Ajax manager next season. Then you've got a very reliable journalist over in the Netherlands saying that Alex Kroes, who's the new technical director, is prepared to wait another month to see if Erik ten Hag will take the Ajax managerial job. So he's been offered the job. Yeah, I mean, he's been offered the job, yeah. And then there's another bit here. It says, Ajax need to give the club back in the hands of a trusted people. If they wait a little longer, there is a high chance that Erik ten Hag will become available. Yeah. I mean, it probably is written in the stars, isn't it, that Erik ten Hag returns to Ajax. He does well. And then in a couple of seasons, he probably goes to Barcelona or he goes to a Bayern Munich or someone like that. Like, I think that's the path that's probably going to happen. And we're going to end up with Thomas Tuchel probably, which makes me feel sad. Thomas Tuchel doesn't develop talent. He's, renowned for not been very good at getting the best out of young players. We've seen that with Alphonso Davies at Bayern Munich this season. He's been absolutely terrible. Quite a few of the other players at Bayern haven't improved under him. Whereas Erik ten Hag, as much as, he deserves criticism, Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, Rasmus Højlund, even like Willy Campoala, all of these players have benefited massively from Erik ten Hag being here, from his trust, from his confidence. So it is a worry, but arguably we don't really have any better players than those players anyway. So if Thomas Tuchel came in, it's not like he's going to suddenly start playing McTominay as a left winger, is he? I mean, he might do, I don't know, or play, I don't know, Wan-Bissaka at left wing, or it's not like he's got. It's not like we have 5 world-class left wings and right wings, and all of these young players are going to be pushed out. So maybe it'll be different. Bayern have got so many good players that if the young player isn't playing well, they can bring in one of them experienced ones, and they're probably as good as most of our team. But yeah, what do I think about all of this? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Will Erik ten Hag be here next season? I want to say yes, but being completely honest with you guys, I don't, and people are going to say this is negative, but this is just an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. And generally, I'm not very negative on this. I've supported Erik ten Hag all the way. I'm realistic about things. I don't, shout and scream at the camera when we lose a game. Like, I'm not that type of person. But from our next 4 games in the Premier League, I honestly think we might not get another win, genuinely. Crystal Palace away. We lost to Crystal Palace at home. Arsenal probably will batter us. Newcastle, I mean, maybe we'll get a draw against Newcastle, and then we play Brighton on the last game of the season away. Brighton beat us, I think. Did they beat us this season? Anyway, Brighton seem to beat us most times recently. So, yeah, I think the only hope is going into that Man City game that if Erik ten Hag won that, maybe his job would be safe. But at the same time, I would hope that Ineos are already working out what they want to do. Because if they've decided they want to sack him, then the next 5 games don't really make any difference because they've already made that decision. Does that make sense? They've either said, let's see how the remainder of the season goes. And in my opinion, we're probably going to lose 4, if not 5 of those last games, right? So if they're saying, let's wait until the end of the season, we'll see how he gets on in the last 4 games, we'll see if he wins the FA Cup, and then we'll decide if we're going to sack him. I think that's kind of stupid because the likelihood is we're going to lose or not get many points against these games. I think we'll struggle to get 6th, being honest. I really, really do. I mean, that's a really, really difficult run-in. Our current run-in has been Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United. It's been all of the kind of lesser teams, let's say. In the next 4 games, you've got Crystal Palace who've done well, Arsenal who are on the brink of winning the league, Newcastle who are doing well or have been better than us anyway, and Brighton who, I know they get beaten badly by some teams, but they are still a good team. So the point being is, I think we've got 1 win in the last 7 games, and that's been against lesser teams in the bottom half, and now we're playing teams in the top half. But you never know with this squad. We might go out and beat all of them. Like, it is so hard to predict. It is literally impossible. Maybe luck will go our way. We'll get a dodgy penalty. Like, you never know what these players are going to turn up with. But let me know what you guys think about that. Obviously, the thought of Thomas Tuchel makes me feel a little bit sick, to be honest. But there isn't anybody else out there. I know some of you wanted Thiago Motta, who's obviously done very well this season. He's just agreed to become the new Juventus manager, so he's not available. Like, the fact that Bayern Munich are about to appoint Ralf Rangnick kind of sums it up for me. That shows how little options are out there. Ralf Rangnick was made out to be a clown by the UK media, was, laughed out of England. And he's now about to get the job at Bayern Munich, who are levels above us. So it just shows what manager options are out there. Nobody wants Conte. Nobody wants Mourinho. Zidane doesn't seem to want to become a manager again. So, yeah. And other than that, it's like De Zerbi, who's got a huge release clause. and just lost 4-0, I think. Was it on the weekend? He lost 4-0. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm going to wrap the video up here. This has been Daily Red Devil. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed today's video, please consider giving a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I'll be back at 6 p.m. today. Have a great day, everybody, and speak soon.